Not a big fan of that either.
No, leave me at home. Leave me alone. Like I'm gonna have to bounce out probably in about an hour from you guys because I gotta go grocery shopping. My buddy's picking me up, but I'm like, ugh. I tried to cancel this morning. I'm like, maybe I don't want to see the world, and then I'm like, no, let's see the world. Fuck, I need coffee.
Yeah. Going out.
Coffee is a strong motivator.
It's insanely strong. Yeah. Yeah.
I do enjoy that your reason for you must see the world is coffee.
It's good as
I need coffee. I must have coffee. Therefore, I must engage in the world even momentarily.
I mean,
So,
coffee.
how's this for a small little tangent of a topic? I love coffee. I love the idea of going to a coffee shop, but I can't stand the concept of paying $7 for a coffee at said coffee shop when I can buy coffee for half the price and make it at home and enjoy it. But I like the antisocial aspect of going to the coffee shop, of just sitting back and watching people. So could I get away with brewing my own coffee, going to a coffee shop, and then not buying anything and just sitting there drinking my coffee?
Just sit in the park bench and watch people from there.
No, because that's outdoors, and I don't like outdoors.
I'm not giving you much of a choice here. If you're going to be in an establishment where you're required to spend money, at the very least buy something to justify being there. But they're probably going to chase you out when you bring out your own coffee. That's the problem. Because
we had a coffee shop here that was in one of those buildings where there's the building and then you go inside and then there's like the different stores inside the building. So like you would go in, well, but not that big. It was just two. But you walk in, there was like a almost like a hallway, like an entryway and a hallway, and then there's the actual business door on one side and another business on the other side. Well, the second business left, and the coffee shop basically got to expand over. I don't know if they actually rented it or purchased it, but they were allowed to like have the other side, but it's not where the shop was technically. So you could walk in. They removed the door so you could actually walk in and people from the shop would come out and sit in seating in the other area, but you could go sit in that other area and you didn't have to buy coffee to go sit in there because it wasn't originally part of the shop. So you could bring in your own coffee, go over there, and everyone in there would just assume that you bought it, especially if you had one of their cups already.
Hey.
Just saying.
So a follow-up to that, how hard of a stretch would it be to just bring your own bottle of booze?
Not that hard.
Because I could do whiskey too. I mean, hey.
Yeah. Bourbon, but yeah.
Bourbon is whiskey.
You should visit
I
Australia.
guess that's true, yeah.
Just saying. I'm just saying. We get it.
Although,
this is the worst part. We get all pissy about our fucking, particular form of whiskey we like, be it Scotch, whiskey, bourbon, rye. We get all pissy about it, but it's ultimately the same fucking thing with slightly different flavors.
Yeah.
In the end, isn't it all just Vegemite?
Yeah. I'll take Vegemite.
Sorry, what was that?
Hey, okay. I'm going to ask a really bizarre question. Probably not bizarre. I'm just curious. Stupid question. Has anybody ever attempted to make alcohol out of Vegemite?
So turn it back into beer.
Is that what Vegemite is? Is just beer
extract? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So turn it into a wine.
No.
All I'm just hearing is crimes against humanity. Why are you suggesting these things, Brian? Why?
Listen, because it's shit that pops in my head. And if it doesn't come out my mouth, it stays in my head and it snowballs into worse things.
That's not helping at all. Just get a diary. Like, at least that way, when And if the eventuality comes that the police have to raid your place, they can look through it and be like, "This is absolutely the right thing that we've done. We have stopped this man. He's a worse being than had to be stopped. Lock him away in Black Mesa. Literally move him to another universe."
Yeah, but see, if I write it all down, then there's always the plausibility that somebody else wrote it and not me. By me being
No.
on camera and speaking it, there's undeniable proof that it came from me.
Right. So we're almost defaulting
And
back to
yet,
something I was telling.
Kaczynski still went to jail. Just saying. And you've got your Unabomber beard going. So, really.
No, and all I'm talking about is coffee and alcohol. Come on.
Yeah, okay.
Well,
It starts with coffee and alcohol. Then it goes to the crime of Vegemite alcohol fermented. You know, like, come on, man. You were a threat to right-thinking people everywhere, sir.
You know,
I, for
might just
one, am here for it. Sorry, go ahead, Sax.
no, it's just yeah. I don't know. I just don't know how to respond to this.
I'm just pissed off that this is going to be going up by 25 to 35%.
Oh, you don't have American Crown Royal?
No, it's made in
You do,
Canada.
by the way. No, there's actual bottlers in the States too. There has to be because they have a Crown Royal U.S. company. There's an entire company. It's not an import. There's a company called Crown Royal in the U.S.
I've never seen anything. Every
So
box
when
I've
you
ever
go
had.
to the Crown Royal page, it'll default you to either Canada or the U.S. depending. And the reason I know this is because I went to get dice bags. And in the U.S., you can actually super customize your dice bag, like put all this cool shit on it. In Canada, you can put a name. And you guys have more colors than we have.
A lot of colors, it's true.
Vegemite tea.
That's one thing I've not done yet.
What, Vegemite tea?
No, customize my own Crown Royal dice bag.
Yeah, me neither. I have like 4 of them, I think.
I think I looked at it, but it's expensive.
Meanwhile, the Australians like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Well, no,
Okay.
I do kind of know because
So do we have a topic or not? The end. What's going on here?
We don't have a topic.
I abandoned all hope.
You had hope.
No.
Jesus, Seraphis, where are you keeping that?
Yeah.
I mean, that is just unreasonable of you, coming out here saying, like, I abandoned hope. It means you had some to begin with. Somewhere out there in the backsides, parts of Australia, there is a man who holds on to hope.
Yeah.
I'm not going to touch that with the 10-foot pole.
That's a lot of things.
Oh,
you
so
don't
we're
want
talking
to
old school
put in
gaming. Is that it? 10-foot pole?
Oh, God. We'd be a lot further along if we were using old school rules.
I can't say anything. I don't know the old school rules. I'm just a 5e youngin'.
Whatever, DC 20 girl.
I am now.
With your fancy pants, DC 20.
I like DC-20. I like the action point system and the dual defenses, which I'm sure is not. I'm sure that's been borrowed from and amalgamized and iterated upon from other systems. I just don't know what those systems are.
God damn, you guys have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bag choices for Crown Royal USA.
You know, the peach one is particularly good.
The peach one. There's
What?
no peach one. There is
This one?
There's a-
purple.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
available anymore.
not in terms of the bag, but I meant the whiskey. Like I like taking Snapple peach tea or just brewed peach tea. I have these jars that look like
Or
old-fashioned
just
milk
drinking
jars.
straight out of the bottle of Crown Royal. We understand. Life is
we
tough.
got this
Corey.
one.
Life is tough.
I don't drink Crown straight because it's too sweet.
Okay, so all they have left is purple, black, apple green, reserve tan,
Is that
gray,
the winter one? Which one's that one?
Yeah,
Vanilla,
that's the winter
and Northern
wheat.
Harvest Rye.
Oh, I've never had that one.
Yeah, they don't have those bags you're showing. They don't have anymore.
I have I actually like the only Crown Royal I like is the apple, the peach, and the blackberry, because the blackberry I mix with Fresca, the apple we put in apple cider in the winter, and the peach I'll mix with peach tea. But other than that, I don't really drink Crown actually.
Now in Canada, we get one bag purple. Eat it. That's all we get is one bag purple. Bah. Meanwhile, you guys are, as always, overwhelming with choice. What do I
That's what
have?
keeps us spending money.
Yeah.
True say.
Don't think
Consumer-based
about
economy.
content. Just consume and get excited for new content.
Oh, thank you, Red Letter Media.
Yeah, that is a good quote, though.
It is a good
It is.
quote.
Okay, here's what I've managed to collect. I've got a basic Seagram's purple. You guys don't get them with Seagrams in the States, do you? No.
No.
I
Wait,
got a
show me a
gorgeous
close up of
I
that
picked
one.
up. Sorry, the Seagram's one? Oh,
Yeah.
no.
That's pretty.
Seagram's
I got
Crown Royal.
this
Wait.
beautiful one.
Hold on. I got to go off on a tangent on that. What is
Okay.
Seagram's Crown Royal?
Seagram's is the guys who own Crown Royal.
Really? I didn't know
Seagram's is the Jewish crime family that pretty much completely funded alcohol into the States during Prohibition from the city of Montreal, no less, down Lake Champlain, and now are considered a legit international business.
I mean, I
As
know that
everything
there's
evolves.
Seagrams. That
Huh?
I understand. I understand Seagrams. I just had
Yeah.
no idea that there was a Seagram's Crown Royal.
Well, Seagram's owns Crown Royal. It's their brand. Then there's this one I got at Claricon, which is really nice. It's
Yeah,
crushed.
I have.
Yeah, you have the same one. Yeah, it's a very, very nice bag. It's like a suede, crushed, velvety feel to it. It's really nice.
Yeah.
That is kind of
Then I
nice.
have
Yeah.
this old timer who's full of dice.
Green.
Apple.
Yeah, that's the
Apple.
apple.
And then I have the big American version of the purple bag because again, the Americans do everything bigger. And I have that. Those are all my Crown Royal bags.
Hey, so hold
I'd
the
like
green
more.
one and the blue one next to each, or the purple one next to each other.
But these two,
Yeah, it's like a ball
yeah,
sack.
they look like testicles, doesn't it? Yeah, it looks like one testicle got kicked hard though, and the other one's envious.
I mean, I like being able to summon my inner 12-year-old. What can I say? I'm glad that this show provides that outlet for me.
I like the fact you use the term summon when every time I deal with you, your inner 12-year-old is present. So I don't think summoning is the problem. I think possession is the issue now. I think we went from summoning it to it possessed you.
Hey, I think I was tame at your last live stream.
Oh no, you're always well behaved on my channel.
And his
But
own.
whenever you're around this guy and the girl who's not here, oh buddy, all bets are off.
Well, this is
I'm sorry,
Talking
we're still
Drek,
showing
so I
off,
mean, I become a character. I become a Drek character.
So what were you saying, Sax?
I was saying, are we still showing off dice bags?
Yeah, let's go ahead and show off dice bags because I can't go down this fucking psychological rabbit hole. Nice.
There you go.
Well played.
That's the best one. That wins.
Well
I hate to
played.
say it, but that wins. Hey, at least with that one, you can actually see what bag you're trying, or what die you're trying to get.
No, I do
Okay.
like that bear. That is very nice and
There's
organized.
my boxes of dice. Hang on.
Damn, Bear.
These are all my stupid Shadow Dark dice I got for not Shadow Dark, for Unnatural Selection. Because I got accidentally paid for it twice, so I got double everything. And then this is just, like Sax is, just a bag of dice.
Mm.
You
Wow.
may ask yourself, why do you have so much dice, Bear? And that's a nice bag. I like that. The only answer I can give you is, I don't know. they were shiny. They
Yep.
were on sale on Amazon. What? Leave me alone. How many dice do you have? Shut up. Like that's where I get to on the dice issue.
What I can't get over is the amount of that some folks charge for their dice.
Yeah.
$80, $90
for the custom stuff,
for
or they're
the
made in China shit.
Anything. I don't know I don't know where it's at.
It just depends on I mean, if you go like gem dice and metal dice and this and that, yeah, they're in the high, hundreds and stuff. But if you're just ordering it off Amazon, you can get
That's
them for
kinda
like
cool looking.
$9.
So these are super sharp, super angular, super pointy, and super
Yeah,
sparkly within, right? And I'll
Gem dice.
hang
Yeah.
on.
I was gonna say
Oh.
those look like sharp edge dice, which
They're very sharp edge dice. And hang on, let me see if I can. There we go. You can see how like inside is super sparkly stuff. Okay. These are normally from anybody making them on Etsy or reselling them because they make them in China and they resell them. $60, $70, $80. But then every now and then you can just pay attention on Amazon and they'll pop up for $20.
yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Dare I bust out my bag of game science? I have a whole bag of game science dice. Because they're gone, right? Same game science is gone, right? You can't get them anymore. Like
These are my BattleTech
everything
ones.
What are
Laser
those?
cut as well.
BattleTech
BattleTech ones? Yeah.
I don't. What is that word? I don't know this word. BattleTech. I don't know what that is. Sounds stupid, to be honest. BattleTech. I mean, really.
Yeah, you're right. Macross sounds a lot better.
Yes, it does because it feels foreign. I know. Living next to them, Japan's not as exciting a place for you guys in Australia, but for us in North America, ooh, Japan. It's exotic.
Well, you've got to be big in Japan.
I would be huge in Japan, but I'm also huge in Canada. I'm just a big guy.
I'm small everywhere.
Too easy.
No.
Never been
Dax
easy.
is like, what the fuck am I doing here?
It's all right. The only thing I can really comment when it comes to height is that I got quite the shock when I moved to the Netherlands. Just the height of the height of those people there were.
Well, how tall are you?
I'm 6 feet.
So you're 6 even. Netherlandies average like 6'1".
Yeah.
So that means there's
like
like 6'3" over there.
But it's just like it includes like a lot of the women being at like 5'11", 6 feet. Like that was something. Again, I lived in China for like 8
All I'm
years.
hearing is move to the Netherlands. I'm so sorry. Keep talking.
No,
Yeah,
like, I'm not.
That's kind of where I'm. Yeah.
Dude, I'm 6'3". Okay. In college, my girlfriend was 5'3". No joke. It was like a Saint Bernard humping a fucking Shih Tzu. You understand? It was like not a comfortable physical relationship.
It was like that. It was like that picture of you and John.
Yeah. What beans? There's nothing behind the door. Why do you... this fucking cat. He goes behind the open door and he pushes it closed. Then he's stuck in the room and he's all pissed off about it. It's like, well, you did this to yourself. He might be a D&D player. Beans, stop it.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, having lived in China for like 8 years, I was very used to being seen as a giant. So coming into the Netherlands was like, oh, geez.
Having lived in Vancouver, Canada for 8 years, kind of used to being a giant because of all the Chinese people. I mean, I remember I was on the number 9 Broadway, which is the busiest bus per capita in North America. No joke. I was like 8:30 in the morning, and the bus is packed, and I'm heading home from a graveyard shift. I'm standing there. Everybody on the bus comes up to my nipples, and it's just a sea of black hair everywhere I look. Myself and the bus driver are the only non-Chinese people on the bus, and the bus driver's like Punjabi Sikh. You know what I mean? Like, it was just a bizarre experience. I was like, the fuck? This is so weird, but it's cool. How long where were you in China? How long?
I was in Shanghai for 8 years.
Yeah. Before you met your wife or after?
Oh, way before. I moved there when I was 12. My dad specifically had a job opportunity that brought him to China. So the family moved there. Yeah.
And then, like, the minute you could get the fuck out, you left? Is that what happened?
No, my dad got a new promotion that moved him to the Netherlands, so I moved there along with the family, and I lived there for a year, sort of readjusting to living in European culture. And then I decided, like, okay, I need an education, because every time I tried to get a job, it was the first thing I was asking, what's your education? I knew I didn't want to live in the Netherlands because I had no intentions of learning Dutch. So I wanted to move either back to Denmark or to England, where I could speak English. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. There you go.
It seems so boring by comparison.
Yeah. Until
With all-
Americans remember they live on a continent the size of Europe. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ, you guys.
significantly bigger than Europe.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I'm being nice. I'm including parts of Russia. Okay, do you mind?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
mind? I'm keeping Russia in that equation.
It
It's
was
insane.
technically,
Like, America is so fucking huge.
it's just like normal to me,
No, but the
because I've
thing is,
always
you
lived
guys
here.
don't realize you're like 10 countries. Like 10
Yeah.
distinct nations live in America. And I've traveled to a few of them now over the years, and I'm like, I see the difference. As an outsider, I see the differences between, California and Florida, or
Oh yeah, yeah. Those are
Washington
two
State
different.
and Maine. You know what I mean? Like, the
Yeah.
language might be the same, but the cultures are vastly different.
Well, and even then, the accent can change pretty distinctly. Of course, the one that it is the most famous would be Cajun, of course. But
No, raw Southern is the most famous to us outsiders.
oh, okay, all right,
Yes.
fine, yeah, Southern.
Actually,
I
no, that's
guess
not true either. Brooklyn is the most famous to us, and I blame Bugs Bunny.
yeah. I get okay. So what when I said most famous, I didn't mean actual most famous accent. What I meant was, I guess like most difficult to understand, or that doesn't actually sound like American English. Like the most people can't understand Cajun, I think.
As a French speaker, Cajun, I understand a lot better than
Well-
some of those fucking weird ass, backwoods Alabama accents. Those are fucking
All right,
crazy.
never mind. Of course, I'm not a French speaker, so I probably would
Well,
never
we have a different
understand.
perspective, Tori. You're an American, I'm a Canadian, and we grew up in completely different educational systems
Yeah.
and exposures, right? So it's
I
different.
I was born in California, but we lived in 3 different places, and then I lived in Missouri, and then I lived in Arizona, and then we moved up here.
So you're in Wyoming now, right? Or Montana?
I'm in Montana.
Right.
I've
Yeah,
been in
Billy.
Montana for like 20 years or whatever now.
I get really confused by the Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, Missouri thing. Like, that's a really weird part of America to me.
Well,
because-
Missouri is across the country from us almost, so that
Well,
they're
but it's
but,
part of that central sort of part of America that's very confusing because it has no identity.
So Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, actually because I'm in Western Montana, we're more or less considered sort of part of the quote Pacific Northwest, because it's actually more like Oregon, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and Western Montana is kind of its own region. And then Eastern Montana would probably be, like the Midwest is more like the Dakotas, Eastern Montana, and then like Illinois, Iowa, all of that stuff.
Which is weird because I've been to North Dakota, and so you got Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, the 2 Dakotas, Nebraska, Kansas, and Missouri. And as far as I'm concerned, as an outsider looking at your country, that geopolitical bloc is just America. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like when I watch a stupid sitcom, or I watch a wholesome family drama, America. You know what I mean?
The
And
Midwest, yeah.
Start getting into the rest of it, though, like Colorado, Utah, Indiana, Iowa, Illinois. It gets weird because now you're starting to get into those really, really bizarre regions. Minnesota,
Yeah.
Wisconsin. And I've been to those places, and they're very different and very interesting. But man, when I think like white bread America, I didn't realize in my life that I was really just thinking about where you're from. You know?
Yeah. Well, we're nicknamed is Montucky because we have a very we're the North Kentucky. That's the joke because until I want to say until the 2000s, really, that's what it was. It was very like the Midwest. I mean, my grandparents are from Missouri. They grew up in. My mom was born and grew up in St. Louis, so they brought a lot of the Midwest with them up here, and a lot of people who moved here when they did the same thing. But for the last 20 years, we've just been a sieve of Californian refugees. So people have been moving here from California for 20 years.
That's unfortunate.
It's and it was California for the longest time. Now it's Texas. Now most of the land up here is getting bought up by the Texans.
Really?
A lot of snowbirds too. In my area, half the valley is owned by people who don't live here.
I think that's awful.
Yeah, that
it's terrible, but not a whole lot I can do about it.
Because those people are also the most likely to be NIMBYist, you know what I mean?
Mm.
So anything
What was that, Zaxius?
I was just going to share that I know in places such as Spain, it's now become a law that if you are a non-citizen, you cannot own property in those countries, because the intent is that the land belongs to the people there. Ergo, because it's a popular destination for a lot of British people who retire to buy property in Spain and then move there to live out their retirement there. Jeez, you two.
It's like 12-year-olds. Where to God?
Well, I know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's like
like
they
that.
just discovered their testicles. It's insane.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
we've our destination place. We kind of share a lot of the same issues, and actually, Colorado has that. I had someone who used to live in Boulder before it blew up, and was telling me the stories about what it was like living there when it was rural. I can never say that, but
Rural?
yeah,
Rural.
when it and then his describing his experiences where like they had their family house, and they bought their house, and it was a house and it had a fence and it had a yard, and then by the time he was like, I think he said his 20s to mid 20s, it was like a literal city block was their house. It was just all street, all concrete, all tall. Like it literally went up almost overnight. He said way faster than where I live. And even though me and the people who have lived here a long time complain about how fast this place has grown, it's kind of nothing compared to that place. And it's just like,
Yes, Grim. Yes. I'm stuck between fools. I am the sanity in the idiot sandwich, apparently.
Oh, that's cool.
Behold your new overlord. Ah.
Surface, remind me of your age again.
Surface, remind me of your dosages.
I am
again.
this many.
No, see,
I take
Brian,
a big blue one every morning.
I understand you, Brian. I do understand you.
Wow.
But it
You
is
understand,
Seraphis.
Brian?
I understand that he needs to just escape from reality. But Seraphis doesn't have that luxury. He needs to be in reality because he has responsibilities. Apparently,
Sure.
responsibilities he's ignoring.
I have nothing to show because I'm an adult. Ooh, a tape measure. That's what I've got. Sorry.
Everything you have to show is right behind you.
Yeah, books, things you read.
Well, it's sure.
I can honestly say I don't have any toys in my house.
I mean, I've got things like plushies and
let's say I have a little
respectable things
plushie.
like VTuber figurines.
Nope, don't
things
have any of those either.
What? Come on, you got to get
I
on
have
to the
tools.
VTuber. How can you?
Should we continue this
How do you say
conversation, gentlemen?
Well, I'm going to repeat it. How can you say you're a responsible grown up if you do not have VTuber merchandise?
I know. I am obviously a child. Yeah, the broken sunglasses are cute, buddy. Man, it's very, very, very,
It's turned
very
into
well.
like the show and tell. Like we went back to first grade and we're just playing show and tell now.
What do you mean back?
Yeah,
Never left. Yeah, that's fair.
this is Talkin Drek.
That's true.
Like,
I mean, half the time I end up kind of just hanging out and sitting here and
And then see Bear does stuff like that, and he just automatically wins. I mean, I can't top that. There's nothing I can do that will top that.
no, it's a little.
oh good God.
Ban tech. It's a very strange word. I don't know why you guys use it.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, thanks. What were you expecting?
No, like my expectations are being met. I have learned through arriving here a couple of times that you enter, you talk, absolute rubbish, and at some point, miraculously, someone will say something that will bring up a topic that will be maybe in the ballpark where I can actually contribute. Till then, I will sit and I will make my commentary.
Very organic,
Yep,
yes.
that's been my strategy for a while.
All
Sassiest.
right. Let's talk about Perkins and Crawford fucking
Oh,
off. by the
I'm not saying that should be the topic. I'm just saying it was a topic. Kind of the low-hanging fruit, really, but
I don't know what
Well,
this
speaking
topic
of low
is.
hanging
What's
fruits,
just
I made a joke that they're gay.
I mean, yeah, they are.
And we're old and our testicles hang low.
Exactly. They're low hanging fruit. I'm good. You guys talk whatever you want now. I'm happy.
It's
Yeah.
Very proud of myself. I'm just gonna take
Well,
this moment.
you should be. It's a lot of hard effort to get that in there.
No, I said when Perkins left, I said that's great. Let me know when Crawford leaves, and then a week later, I get double good news. I'm like, stop. What's
Yeah,
next?
but is it?
Tell me WotC's licensing out D&D to Renegade, and then I'll just be a happy person. You know, like really.
I was gonna say, like, them if they're leaving, like, is it really that great, or does it even really matter? Because it's not. I don't expect some massive change in quality from D&D.
You have to hear all the words I said, Tori. If they leave, D&D is going to fail because the people that are left in charge of D&D are not D&D people. They're activists and idealists and agendists, which is going to cause the IP to lose money hand over fist. And then Hasbro will just license it out, and they have a great relationship with Renegade and say, "Here, you want to make D&D from now on?" You know what I mean? And then we might actually get a game out of it.
It's probably going to go down the route of what Games Workshop has been doing for years, which is just, hey, you want to make something of it? Great. Just adhere to our IP structure. Have fun. We'll just take a slice of it. Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, like current D&D is poorly managed.
I was gonna say, I figured that Crawford and Perkins were part of that, because they were kind of activists and they were kind of part of the problem,
Perkins is a
right?
yes man. If you look at the history of Perkins, every edition of D&D, he's just singing its praises. Everything WotC does is great. Perkins is a corporate yes man. Whatever corporation he works for, yeah, cunt, exactly. Whatever corporation he works for, he will unabashedly praise everything they do as the greatest thing ever, right? He is
Isn't it
corporate
also
to the core.
Yeah, but it's his job, though, to my understanding.
Yeah, but you can have it be your job and not be a fucking bootlick.
Not fair enough. Mind you,
Perkins,
like,
okay, this is a very spicy take, and I'm going to say it before Saxy says anything else because I want to get this off the table now. And I'm not. This is merely an observation. Everyone, clutch your pearls somewhere else. Guys like Perkins and people I've worked with in corporations who are like that made me understand why it was so easy that the German population just went along with the Nazi Party stuff and went, oh yeah. You know, like there's this entire segment of humanity that will just kowtow to whoever's in charge without thought and sing the praises of who's in charge endlessly. And that's bad. So fuck
It's very bad.
And Crawford, never liked that guy.
I didn't really pay attention to him until 5th edition, and then the interactions I saw just were not impressing me. Because I found the whole setup of people coming to him to interpret the rules was just, why?
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? I partially knew of Mike Merles.
Merle I liked.
Yeah. The few times I saw, like, when he was discussing his games, he was like, well, I don't use what's in the book because I've got a system that dates back to some way before then, which I liked, and it works very well for my group. Therefore, we run it that way. I'm like, well, that's cool. That's what D&D is all about. You use
Right.
what we have. We've got 5 editions of it. And then, yeah, you know, when the members began doing the whole, we're going to bring politics onto the platform where previously it was about to be the game, the products, advertisement of the products, which is fine, in my opinion. Once they start dragging in other things, it's like, no, now I don't like this. It's just, I'm not interested in having this. I've got enough. At that time, I had enough of it in my YouTube feeds, in my Discord interactions, just general life. Didn't want it to be my hobby as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, look, we'll see what happens, but I'm just really hoping that D&D gets put into competent hands at some point in the future.
Either that or we start, because it's such a huge IP. Even if it were to, let's say, collapse or not really become a thing in the future, it is going to generate a void, which is someone's going to want to step in for that. I don't see Paizo really doing that. I mean, yeah, they've got the name, but I don't think they've got the fan base that can really fill that void.
Paizo have been fucking up lately anyway.
Yeah, but they've been doing that for years.
What'd they do? I don't pay attention to Paizo. What'd they do?
Sax, you want to take that one?
No, that's all on you. The last time I really paid attention to them, it was the Simona Price, I think it was, that maybe go, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, all I know is basically what Kerr's been corresponding with me about. Brian.
Mm-hmm.
That what's that lovely word Americans love using?
Freedom.
Freedom of speech. I don't know.
Woke. Woke agenda. Woke.
Oh, woke.
Woke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enunciate.
Stuff and I don't really follow them personally. Once they kind of moved off from their first edition Pathfinder to the second edition, I started paying attention.
I bless you. I saw a really funny XP to level 3 video where they were just doing the gag of what a normal Pathfinder session is like, and it was hilarious.
Oh,
I'm going to do this. No, you can't do that unless he's like that. No, that's not true. It's if he's like that, but then the qualifier of this and that is on top of it. Hang on, let me check the book. It's yeah.
That sounds very accurate.
I have no comment on that.
Don't you play Pathfinder?
No.
3.5.
Proto Pathfinder.
yeah.
You know,
And I
the one
think
with
that's one of the
Eberron.
major reasons that I have started playing like the Mortborg and the Shadow Dark type games is it's the simplistic nature of them. You know, it's the rules are what you want them to be, not having to reference a book for 20 minutes trying to decipher what you can or cannot do.
I would propose.
Did you say Cypher?
I would propose and postulate that there is a middle ground between Shadow Dark and Pathfinder. Like there's a middle ground on complexity, and again, I've said this many times, and I will continue to say it. I begrudge Kelsey nothing. She deserves every ounce of success she has gotten. Shadow Dark is a massive hit, and congratulations, and I hope she has more. And the fact that other people are making careers off of publishing for it, beautiful. I read it, ain't for me. Too goofy, too light, too uncrunchy. I like a nice medium crunch. Pathfinder is excessive crunch. Fate is crunch. This is pureed pablum. You know, there's no crunch in it at all. You just drink the game with a straw. But between all those extremes, which is, I think, one of our problems in the community is people go to extremes all the time. There's this middle ground you can find games, like maybe DC-20 is that. I don't know.
I was going to say that's exactly DC-20 is the idea of that. So DC-20 has a fair amount of crunch, but the way it's constructed is you basically use it when you need it. So it hides its crunch. So if you want less crunch, it kind of lends itself to playing without it, but it's also there if you want it. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
it's like
Goths
basically. Sorry, what?
No, I was just going to say Goths in Rome. Jumping back to Paizo, said something in the chat.
Oh yeah.
One of the leads for Paizo basically told said, yeah, there you go. Yeah. Trump supporters should return their products because the game isn't for fascists.
So to continue my silly analogy that doesn't make a lot of sense, there is muesli on the crunch end, right? Insane high fiber, Horkin fiber crunch, as Dennis Leary, I think, referred to it one time. And then there's, pudding on the low end. But in between all that, there's oatmeal. You know what I mean? Like there's this other choice in the middle that everybody just overlooks. And it drives me insane because as someone who's designing a game, every time you suggest the minorest of rules, you get the anti-crunch crowd coming out of the woodwork. I don't play games to look things up. And it's like, oh my God, fuck, who hurt you? Show me on the teddy bear where they touched you. Like, fuck. It's insane.
Well, and every hobby I think has people that are a little bit different, but the tabletop hobby has people can play very, very different from each other, min-maxers and power gamers and people who really love their crunch versus like the rules light people or the people that just want to narrate everything, and then anything in between. So you can have some pretty crazy differences within the player base as well.
Yes.
Well, I'm type RPG diabetic, and so I need a game that is very carb friendly.
Shut up! That was a dumb analogy. I don't like it. I heard it. He said it. I don't think it was good.
Oh well, can't knock them all out of the park.
No, it was good. It was fine. It was fine. Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm just so tired of and I don't mean this in the liberal, Democrat, conservative, Republican mentality, but I'm tired of the politicization of role-playing games.
Yeah.
Which ties into my anti-tribalism, right? I do not like tribalism because I find people get really stupid. Yes, Sarah?
I will agree with you, but go further that I'm sick of the American-based socio-political tribalism that's infected our hobby. Because
again, I'm not talking
this
about
hobby is meant to be.
I'm talking about the politicization of what you play makes you have to take a side or a camp.
Yeah.
And if you don't play the one true game, whatever that group's decided is the one true game, well, now you're this, you're that, and you're the other thing. It's why I can't go on Twitter. Because that's all fucking Twitter RPG is people arguing about who's right and who's wrong, and both of them should shut the fuck up.
I was
Because
referring-
they're both right.
but yes.
Oh, okay. I was making sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. No, I think Europeans have a much better attitude about role-playing games. They mostly prefer to play a game that's not American. You go to every country in Europe that isn't England and look at what their number one role-playing games are. It's always something made in their country, or something in their sphere of
Look at Dragonbane. Dragonbane is
Yeah.
super popular.
And I find Dragonbane way too light. Like,
It is
'cause
that,
I
yes.
see
Yeah.
the origins of it. I see the RuneQuest ancestry in Dragonbane, and I'm like, why would you streamline it to this point? Like, now at this point, a campaign's impossible. Like, it's it's too easy. You need a little bit more crunch than that. I don't know, but everybody has their own preference, and there's nothing wrong.
Although
with
it
that.
does have a really kick-ass map.
Yes, I have it. It's a great map.
It's a
Beautiful
blanket.
map. It's a great map. It's made of cloth. It's nice.
It'll
They
keep
put
you
artwork
warm.
on it.
I don't know where it is right now.
And when you have the map, they just let you grab. You can just grab them.
Grab them right by the D20s. I love it. They'll let you.
Oh
Look
dear.
at Zach having his aneurysms.
I am, but at least it's entertainment to all of you.
It's microaneurysms.
Just twitches.
Why didn't we just burn you all to the ground when we had the chance? Denmark.
No.
I wanted to live there until they wouldn't let anybody live there anymore.
Yeah. We've been doing that for years.
Oh, yeah, it was in the 90s you started that bullshit. I was literally looking into how to move to Denmark at one point in the 90s. And I'm like, this is awesome. This country sounds great. The women are hot. I want to go live in Denmark. I'm in my 20s. I got something to offer. I'll learn fucking Danish. Let's go. And then the day I was like, almost like, not the day, but like the month, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. Denmark is no longer allowing immigration for people who do not have first-generation Danish ancestry. And I'm like, why? Why did this get fucked up? And I'm not allowed to say why it got fucked up, because then I'll be an istophobe if I say so. So I'll just shut the fuck up. But we all know why Denmark had to go, nope, we're done. Thank you.
Yep.
Same thing for England. My sister Stephanie got to take advantage of your grandparents were from England, you can go live in England. By the time I was 18, England had gotten rid of that rule. They were like, nope, that's enough of that.
So right now, my brother's been looking into the whole thing of because he has 2 daughters now, and he wants them to get the benefits of being Danish. So he's having to effectively claim birthright for his 2 daughters for them to get that, which is interesting. So as long as one of the parents are Danish, they are allowed to then go through the paperwork to then be given the citizenship.
Nice.
Didn't used to be like that. What my old passport actually had the old law written into it, that if I ever get a secondary citizenship, I will immediately be disavowed by Denmark and cast out as a citizen of Denmark, because they didn't allow for you to hold dual citizenship.
And was that written in Furthark runes on the passport?
Yeah, it was on one of the front pages. Like after you got past the front, it was written in there. There was a runic stone on the other page when you were reading it.
Exactly. Lo, there do I see the line of my ancestors kicking me out of Denmark. Lo, there am I besmirched.
Those who dare hold the paperwork of another country shall be cast into the deepest part of the Nordic Sea, never to be seen again, to be thrown down there amongst the other heathens of the Norwegians and the Swedes.
By the will of Odin. Denmark. I love Denmark. All right, we're all going to go with these size flags for Europe. Sound good, everybody? We're all going with these size. Well, we wanted to go with this size. Fucking Denmark.
That I don't do a lot, and when we do things, it's like, why? Or, okay, this sounds brilliant. I was like, should everyone do that? It's like, no, it is just us. Go away.
Shut the fuck up, Estonia.
God, don't
I
even get
still
me
love
started.
that. It's still
No,
my
they're not.
favorite thing.
They are not Scandinavians. They will never
They are
become Scandinavians.
so Scandinavians. They're where you get your fucking blue eyes from on top of it all. But nope, you guys would much rather try and convince Scotland to join up.
Yeah, that one I don't understand, but sure.
I will say though, I will give Estonia one compliment. Last year, their Eurovision entry was amazing.
Oh, you watched that?
I
Yes.
live in Canada. We don't watch Eurovision.
That's
Yeah, no,
bogus.
because you're boring.
But
Yeah,
doesn't
well, don't
Australia
forget
like
Brendan Fraser
participate in
was from there.
Eurovision as well?
Yes, we're in Eurovision now too.
How are you in Eurovision? It's supposed to be only for the Europeans. How have you snuck your way in there? It makes no sense to me.
You
So
know
when you're
how
reading
European
Heroic,
we are?
there's this perk you can get that sounds like a hitch. It's called Pitiable, where basically people take pity on you because of the way you present yourself, and that gives you benefits. Well, that's what Australia has as a perk. Pitiable. And the rest of Europe goes, no, Australia.
I don't
All
see
right,
why we
come
should
That
pity
explains a
them.
lot about my channel.
Says the largest channel here.
Yeah, I know. I like fuck him.
A lot of people feel sorry for me.
A lot of people like to talk about D&D, and that's the one thing none of us do on our channels is talk about D&D.
Unless I'm trolling.
Oh, unless
I
we're
don't
causing
talk about.
trouble.
I don't talk
But
about
then-
anything on my channel.
Well, yeah, your channel's dead. We don't go far enough into the anti-D&D, OSR rules, fuck your woke bullshit, like some of the others do, so we don't get that hate crowd, right? So we live in this innocuous place where we don't get the D&D lovers, we don't get the D&D haters, we just get RPGers. And ultimately, I'm good with that.
Probably better. plan.
Actually, I have had a couple of death threats, so I think I'm
You've
a
had
real
death
YouTuber.
threats?
Yes.
For what?
Exactly.
Was
Like,
it Gryffindor? Was Gryffindor looking for trouble? I mean, if it was a Hufflepuff death threat, you got nothing to worry about, son.
No, it was a gay cowboy. He didn't like me.
A gay cowboy didn't like you,
Yeah.
but you look exactly like what gay cowboys like.
Apparently,
I mean-
Yeah. Yeah. Said individual told him to meet him in a bar, and he would. What was the wording? Meet you in a bar, and we'll go from there, or we'll see what you're made of, or something like that. Yeah.
I just wish I hadn't been looking after the kids all day. I would have gotten back sooner. And
Was this in Australia?
No,
No.
it was American.
It was in my Discord.
I don't pay attention to your Discord. What's going on over there?
Like I tell everybody, we get up to some lively chats in there.
Dear
Look,
God.
I'm nothing if not love. Okay, I'm just a big ball of.
Bullshit. Oh, sorry.
I love my cunts. I love my fucks. So just have a fucking cunt.
It's your channel.
Yes, it is, and I'm never going to get monetized, and I'm happy with that. You okay, Tori?
Yeah, I'm just hanging out here. I'm injured. Seraphis got injured. Game Master's just finished healing. Everybody almost died for a second there because I wasn't paying attention and just letting the game run on its own. Whoops. So I had to
I
actually.
was kind of curious how we were all doing.
Well, you're back up and running now, and now you're helping smooth the walls. Bear's been mining out. He's, I think, the only miner on the team, so he's responsible for us even having a place to live.
You're
Seraphis went out and fought an emu, and I'm not even kidding.
That makes sense.
The evil war has returned again.
Did you bring food
Even
back
on
for
a
us?
distant planet where he's been
actually-
misplaced, he needs to fight the emus.
Let's see.
There were no
gear.
kangaroos.
Oh, he's still carrying it. Oh, excuse me. It was a cassowary. It
Cassowary.
looks like an emu.
It was an emu.
It's still in his inventory. The corpse is still in his inventory. He brought it back so he could butcher it for meat.
What's the one that
No,
flies into your windscreens down there? Is it the cassowary? There's just like one bird in Australia that's famous for just like fucking head nosing right through car windscreens as they're driving down the fucking highway in the outback. I think is it a cassowary? It's got some name like that. It's some fucking Australian name, you know. Like,
You're gonna have to narrow that.
you know.
You're gonna have to narrow that down. Does it fly or not fly?
It flies.
Okay, that narrows it down to about 200 different species of bird.
Excellent. It has a silly name. Does that narrow it down to at least 100?
No. We're still at like 200.
Okay.
200
It's a bird
silly
of prey.
names.
Is it big?
It's big.
Okay, is it the wedge-tailed eagle?
That's the one.
Okay,
See? Australia. Everything wants to kill you.
it's only the 4th largest bird in the world. Well,
And it
flying
likes to
bird.
See,
fly
that
through
needs to be the
car
role
windshield.
playing game.
Yes. Because of reasons. We look like prey. And it's a big fucking bird of prey.
My buddy had a theory. He said Australia was like the ancient aliens' bioweapons testing ground. And when they left, they just left it on autopilot. Like,
Well, can you explain the platypus?
can you explain the fucking what is that fucking thing that it's a shellfish, it's long and it has a tongue that can reach 360 degrees of its fucking body. It lives in the shallows of the warm water, and one of its barbs has enough toxin to kill you, but when it stings you, it puts like 100 fucking barbs into you. And I can't
You're
remember.
going to have to
what the hell
narrow
it
that
was
down.
I think I know which one you're referring to. The toxin is a turquoise or turquoise color, isn't it?
I don't know the color. I just know that this thing exists.
Yeah.
And that's why you don't go wading in the water on the south coast. You know, like what the fuck? What's wrong
Oh, yeah,
with
yeah.
your government?
I swim in the South Coast all the time.
Maybe you're immune.
It's all
Why
the
do you have a
Vegemite.
spider that has fangs so large it has to rear its body back to attack, and then when it fires that, it can pierce a toenail with these fucking fangs? Why does
You
that
thought-
exist?
Do you mean the
Huh?
wolf spider?
No, it's the Sydney funnel.
Oh, that funnel web bitch. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Why the
say
fuck does that
funnel.
exist? You
I don't know. Ask someone from
Hey,
Sydney.
Seraphis, I have a serious question for you.
Sure.
Can you name one thing in Australia that doesn't want to try to kill you?
Yeah, what's the
Koalas.
nice thing? Wallabies? No, koalas are dangerous as fuck. If they're not high on eucalyptus, they'll tear you apart.
Even if
no
they are
idea.
high, even if they are high on eucalyptus, they've probably got gonorrhea. In which case, you'll probably get gonorrhea.
Jesus.
You know what? I'm just defaulting back to the underdog is just Australia and the
With the
drow
lights
are
out.
just Aussies, and that's why
I've always
they're-
said
with that.
drow should have Aussie accents. It would make them really
Yeah.
interesting. G'day, welcome to the Anarak.
Yeah,
G'day, slaves. Welcome to your new homes. You're gonna be working till you're dead.
Too right.
Crikey, none of your dwarves. What an absolute loss of a raid.
Shoey?
Oh,
We
sorry.
need to have
Yes,
a barbecue.
Guts is right. It's chlamydia, not gonorrhea. My apologies.
So wallabies, they're nice, right? Wallabies don't want to hurt anybody.
That's adorable.
I don't know. I know nothing about. Okay, the only thing I know about fucking wallabies is that they were crossing highways and get run over a lot in the 80s. So the fucking regional governors came up with a plan to dig tunnels under the fucking highways for the wallabies, but no one told the wallabies. So they just kept crossing the fucking highways and getting killed. Which is
Don't you
brilliant.
have like a songbird or something that doesn't want to kill you?
Nah, songbirds are absolutely vicious things. They see you and they're like, I'm going to peg you to death. I'm going to drain your blood and go and feed my children.
Yeah, most of their songbirds are sturges.
So
This-
there's a bird called a lyrebird, and basically it can mimic any sound that it hears. And a lot of them tend to hang out around construction sites. So they will fly somewhere else and then start making the sound of jackhammers and like vehicles backing up.
And then
With,
say shit like, "Hey, baby, you won't come with us?" Hey.
with like 99% accuracy in the mimicry.
That's creepy.
Even the sounds want to kill you.
So psychologically, the animals have a thing against us. Just so you know.
Australia is just Catachan from 40k. Everything's there to kill you.
Well, and the word, no, it's fucking Seleucia secundus, right? They're supposed to be breeding the Sadukar in Australia. But the thing is that, like, yeah, like the dingo ate my baby thing, which everyone was laughing about until they finally found the torn up fucking jumper, 10, 15 years later and did the DNA test. It's like, holy shit, the dingo did eat her baby. Like, what the fuck? What's wrong with your country, man? Why?
I mean,
I like what Sack said. You've got Warhammer 40k, you've got Fantasy 40k. Just might as well be in Australia 40k.
Ooh,
No, they're too scared.
40K.
Games Workshop.
How about just Australia 20k?
Yeah.
Hey,
we need that 20,000 years to that bullshit. What?
Right. I said I just got full fiber internet, so my fucking broadband is awesome.
Well, on that happy note, I gotta get ready to go grocery shopping. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out into a place where the only thing that wants to kill me are the people.
And the moose.
No, we don't have moose in the city.
Oh.
That'd be insane. That would be absolute madness if you had moose wandering around like a city of 3 million people. That'd be really fucking weird.
So, like, it'd be bad if there were kangaroos and emus around?
I don't get the kangaroos at all.
They're
like, I love the one where the guy had to box a kangaroo because it was trying to kill his dog. You ever seen that video?
Yeah.
Fuck, Jesus, what is... Again, Australia. Why? That should be your national fucking motto. Australia. Why? No?
No, I agree. Absolutely. This is...
How many people were killed by the wildfire trying to lay the fiber cable?
Wildlife. Yeah.
Oh my god.
How do you think we keep our population numbers under control? It's called government work.
Bye, guys. Have a great day.
You take care.
See you, Bear.
Be seeing you.
Okay, would you like some sensible conversation now?
So the moment he leaves, it's like, okay, let's actually have real discussions. Now that he's gone, and we have no one to egg on, we will now have sensible discussions.
Yes, I'm all for anything you'd like to talk about now, Sax.
All right, well, I'm trying to think here, because I know that we had some really good discussions when we were talking about Mass Effect.
I missed out on that, apparently.
Yes, and it's good that you're here because, you can contribute to that one as well.
I can contribute to that one.
Just in general, because if we were to have, for example, a Mass Effect role-playing game, like, I think setting-wise, Mass Effect 2 would be ideal, or the time period between Mass Effect 2 and 3, because there's quite a lot of, like, build-up towards the Reapers being there, and there would be a lot of prep work, because there would be factions that would be supporting Shepard in what they were saying, and especially with major prominent individuals like Garrus going back to the Turian, to the Taurians, and rising up to become a general. That's quite a significant, build up. So that would be quite a bit to be done for that.
Yeah, if you were going to do it, that would be the time frame to do it. You've got conflict, you've got more of the world opening up. You've got, like you said, major characters.
There's a lot of things that would be done. I definitely could see that Cerberus would no longer be a viable faction for you to really engage with, because they would have gone down the route of like human supremacy slash pseudo merging with the Reaper technology. So that would, at least in my opinion, set up for a very good creation for you to do things. And there are a number of other role-playing games out there that already deals with shipbuilding, traveling, and again, we have the map. We know how the Mass Effect gates or nodes function and how you have to go, from one Mass Effect node to the next before you get anywhere. It's not just shoot directly over there. And even then, you've then got to do like system travel between the various star systems. So there's so much that can be done, and because again it's a sci-fi setting, well, I don't know what you're on about, Goths in Rome. If I learned nothing from 40k, I'm currently, if you would mind elaborating, I'm sure I can see what it is that you mean.
But yeah, there is a Dragon Age RPG. I don't think there's an official Mass Effect one, but I don't see why you couldn't use the Fantasy Age and or Modern Age system with the Expanse RPG or from Green Ronin to put together a Mass Effect system, a Mass Effect game. So, yeah.
Yeah.
The components are all there for it.
Oh no, definitely. It's all there for Mass Effect setup. And there's so much. I know, like, this is like 15 years ago at this stage. Or at least 10
Mass
to 12
Effect
at
2,
least. Yeah, but like I explicitly remember finding a fan-made D20 system.
Oh yeah.
Which were made and included like all of the various different races that you could be playing as, and they were very expansive. I loved it. And there was the entire sector of like, here's what's going to happen. Like here's how it's meant to be run if you have a Spectre in the group. Here is the sort of missions that you're going to be doing and so forth. And again, it made perfect sense that you would have a Spectre who would be like the lead person. Much like the games, you would then have the crew, which would be supporting them, and then you would be going out to do various forms of missions, either for the councils, for the specific faction that you are from, and yeah, there's a lot that can be done via that, and I think it has some good deal of potential.
Okay,
go on.
Oh, I was going to say, actually no, you finish. I can say this afterwards.
All right. I'm trying to think where I was going. But you can go anywhere from political intrigue to large scale, conflicts where you are involved, such as special forces and having to drop down and do things. The overall arcing storyline of what you were doing in the Mass Effect world just opened up everything from soap operas to political intrigue to espionage to outright conflict. So it's such a promising setting. So go on, Surface.
So last time we were talking about this story, Sax graciously told me the character he had designed and wanted to play. Sax, would you like to tell the group again what that character was and why it was the best character in the world?
Absolutely. So I need to look up what was their name again. Volus, I think they're called.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, the Earthcast Volus people are constantly stuck inside of their pressurized suits. My character was a person who came with a stockbroker / accountancy background to come on board the ship to support the Spectre for all of the bureaucratical nonsense and accountancy for the ship. With the entire premise being that, like, I shall find the numbers, my good Spectre. We shall find everything. We shall take them down, and we shall bring the proof so that they will be going through the proper trials. It's like, what? this is not what we're meant to be doing. Sax. We're just going there, doing some fighting, and then they're going to be arrested. I was like, yes, but what about due process? What? Process, the due process. We must gather up all the evidence and the proof that they have been scheming away all of the financial money. And I was like, Jesus Christ, you're bringing a financial character to a sci-fi opera with guns, battles, and technological marvels, and your character is an accountant. It's like, yes, absolutely. And it will be brilliant. Because you will have to encounter bureaucratic bullshit where my character will just like move people out of the way, be like, I've got him. I will have him cornered in 5 minutes. Mark my words. I'll just get out my pen and like, you, sir, have engaged in a bureaucratic duel.
That's fantastic. That's amazing.
And yeah,
Oh my
that would be my character, and it would be like, oh, we need to acquire this. It's like, I know exactly what we shall do. And it's like, what do we need to do? It's just like, I will bring forward the forms and present them to C-Tech, that we now have the proper authorization, that we may now go wherever you tell us to go.
I feel like this is the escalation or the alternate universe Omen drawn, because that was one thing that he was really known for, is the paperwork and contracts and all of that. And this is like this is like going even continuing further down that road. But I think
it's just my entire reasoning, and again the DM for this, because I did present this to a DM who was trying to run this, and I was genuinely like fighting the case of like, no, we need an accountant on board this. He was like, why? I was like, well, everyone that we arrest, we need to have the proper procedures and proof that they will be trialed. That's what my character does, because no one in the entire crew, if you look at Mass Effect, is actually doing that in the background. Maybe Edie is doing that, but Shepard doesn't do it. He hates whenever he has to deal with interactions and whenever he has to go in front of camera. This character is the person who deals with this bullshit. So that way we can say we've done it. I'm going to be the character that's then going to be ensuring that the... yeah, that's awesome. It would be the sort of like the DM was just like, this doesn't sound like fun. Like, you have no idea who you're talking to. This is amazing. I would love it. I would make this fun for myself. I would find ways that this would benefit the group, because at the end of the day, the point of this character is to benefit the group. And
yeah, that it's something that makes me think. We were talking earlier about a system for, that Dragon Age has an RPG system, and it's one of those where it's like, yeah, but does it need a system, or can you just play it? Like, I could pull out DC-20, I could set it in that universe, or a point in favor for Game Master's fondness for rules light systems, where you could just take that system that you're already playing. Like, could you take Dragonbane and just plonk it down in the Mass Effect universe and just reskin everything, and away you go?
Yeah. At the end of the day, it is a setting that we're quite trying to get to. And I know that Stars Without Number is super easy in terms of the system. It's, D20 and a bunch of D6s thereafter. It is more lethal than Mass Effect, but you can counter that by basically having armor do damage reduction, stacking armor, and very basic things that will just mitigate that your characters die, because it's meant to be more heroic. And then you just have a long list of skills that you can then build your character around. Like, at the end of the day, the system is whatever it is. You just need something that can facilitate it. The rest is just the setting, doing the hard legwork and finding out, how do you play whatever, alien race, and what benefits do you give them?
Yeah.
And that's all of that.
Like, Knuckle. Do you guys, are you familiar with Zelda? Like, have you guys played in Zelda or Breath of the Wild or any of them? Because that was one thing that was mentioned too, was somebody wanted to see like a Zelda campaign, just same concept where you're picking a setting and you're putting it down. But It's interesting that you mentioned the conflict there, because Mass Effect and Dragon Age both really, really lend themselves to being a TTRPG setting with that. But then is it not because they were born from it? I mean, think about it. They make very natural TTRPG settings because they were born from a love of TTRPGs. Like, it's almost like they were built with that in mind and then translated to a video game rather than the other way around.
I mean, it definitely was. Like, it came from the whole computer role-playing game, where the intent was like, we're building a role-playing game specifically inside of a computer. So it was never the intent of go from tabletop into computer. It was the reverse. It was from computer, and then other people have said, right, we're now going to bring that to the tabletop, in various iterations. It's just we haven't seen a Mass Effect conversion, or at least not an official one that's been done. So it's just, you just need to sit down and go, right, here's the universe. Let's take all the different, races there and stat them out for what you get, and then just do the equipment, and then you just need to find out, what mechanics you use from there, if it's a D20, if it's something else, or whatever you want to go for, so that you can make it work.
The last episode that I watched of the Sly Flourish, the thumbnail for that one is WotC was right, which is obviously the clickbait thumbnail, but that was the thumbnail. So that particular episode where he did the thumbnail of WotC was right. He mentioned a friend of his that, because he was talking about like copyright and where copyright comes in and doesn't come in and this and that and the other thing. And a friend of his developed a system that was Mass Effect. Like, that's what he wanted to do. He wanted the Mass Effect setting. He wanted to develop that system. And then they were going back and forth about what it would require to, because it is copyrighted material. And what his friend ended up doing was just basically name changing a couple of things. It's still Mass Effect, basically, but it's just, he ended up, and I can't remember, I don't remember, he said the name of the system or the game, but that would allow him to publish it. But it's quintessentially Mass Effect. I wonder if you could also just take that and then just swap the names back. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, my intent is I just want the game to play it or run it. I have no intention of distributing or earning money from it, but that's because I've got, my priorities are just skewed. I don't look at this from a profit point of view.
I think we should have a Super Mario Brothers, the role-playing game.
Yeah. How will that work?
I did a Mario Party D&D session. That's a real thing that I did. I actually have the map printout from it too. I went onto Google and I found a picture of one of the maps from one of the boards in Mario Party. I printed it. I did where they would actually get D10s, because in the one version of the game you can roll up to a 10. So they all had a D10 that they actually rolled on each of their turns to move forward on the board. I basically copied all of the Mario Party mechanics. Like, if you land on a blue one, you get 3 coins. If you land on a red one, you get negative coins. It costs so many coins to get a star. Here's where the star is. And then some of the special blocks they had on that board, the star would move around. So anytime one of them landed on that, they would, the star would move around. And then all of the mini games, all right, not all of them, but I picked about, I think, 6 or so mini games that I could replicate at the table. And I had them in a table. And so every time they landed on a square or at the end of all 4 of their turns, they would roll randomly to see what mini game they ended up playing. And what was, and then I had like the music from the game playing. So we actually did a Mario Party D&D session. And what was really interesting about it was, even though they were still playing their characters, like, they could totally use their character abilities. They didn't try to until 3/4 of the way through the session. They were like totally playing by Mario Party rules. And then somebody said something and I was like, well, you're still playing your characters, right? Like, you still have your spells, you still have your abilities, you can still do stuff. And they were like, oh, so then they started trying to break the board and actually like use their abilities in the mini games and stuff like that. And it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. That sounds good though.
I love it. It's like, we should be more open to using the system as a baseline and then putting whatever we want to in there, as opposed to just getting stuck with like, you know, specific setting. I mean, if you're looking for a specific setting, like you want to play the Mass Effect setting, or you want to play the Game of Thrones setting, or you want to play a particular setting, not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying we should also not feel restricted by that too.
Oh yeah. No, I do agree.
Mm-hmm.
So but it's just a general thing of like, I like the setting on the storytelling that we saw out of Mass Effect. Mass Effect as a saga, the trilogy was incredible. I loved it.
I mean, you're right. I still have I've still about 3 though.
Is it because of the ending?
Yes and no. I mean, I don't like the ending, but I kind of like it, but I kind of don't like it. But at the same time, it's hard to critique it because I can't provide something better. It's like, if you're going to complain about how it ended, how would you end it? And it's like, oh, I have no fucking idea, because I think they wrote themselves in a corner.
Well, no, there were a number of things that were happening. Yes, they wrote themselves into a corner. The whole setup was that they were promising, like, oh, all of your choices throughout all of the free games will now matter and be accumulated. It's like, they didn't know how to do that. They had no clue how to do that. They did it very well in the second one, where they went like, here is all the choices you made from the first one. That's now carrying over and having an impact to the story in terms of which characters you interact with. But it hasn't really changed too much in terms of the final in the final storyline. What? Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, I also think that the way they decided certain choices mattered for the third game was rather irritating. Like, it made a difference as to whether or not you took out the heretic Geth station or converted them back. But either way, the Geth get rogue elements within them anyway. Like, either way, the choice is redundant, but somehow it matters towards the Geth-Quarian ending conflict.
Yeah.
I
think it was a case of when they are going through again. Let's back up, because I think we can go off to a small tangent here.
Yeah.
In terms of the third game, yes, I know that people have got conflicting views when it comes to the ending. My personal take is like, the view of the ending is that, what about the 3/4, the 75% other parts of the game? Was that fun? Did you enjoy the storytelling of that? That's more directed towards you, Tori.
Yeah. See, it's hard for me to say that I did, because I mean, obviously I like played and finished the game and I enjoyed it, but it's hard for me to say that, like, how much of the game did I enjoy versus the ending, because all of the game is this relentless march towards the ending. Like, you can't really separate it out, because it the whole experience is all about the build up. The whole game is building up your army, building up your resources, getting everybody on board with fighting with you, yada yada yada. I mean, the entire third game is that.
Yeah,
so that's
to do the multiplayer.
Oh, no.
I never played multiplayer.
No, did not touch that. I prefer what's it called? Single player games anyway. I don't want to do multiplayer games for my single player experience.
The fact that the multiplayer impacted the single player is bullshit.
Oh, that's no.
I didn't even. I can't say it did, because I didn't play multiplayer and it didn't impact my game.
Yeah.
I'm confused. I don't know of the multiplayer impacting the single player game at all.
I think they were trying to get people to play the multiplayer to do things to then get, more points for you to then win the army aspect. But yeah, it did not. You could get the best ending without doing the multiplayer. which is what my
Best
wife
ending.
did. Yeah, well, the best ending is the one where Shepard actually survives.
Oh, was that part of the DLC?
No, it was originally in the
No,
game.
that's originally in the game. It is
Huh.
a very specific thing. You have to be like, you have to basically find the long list of what you have to do and what to say at many critical points throughout the third game. And you get a 10-second snippet where everyone's going through the rubble calling out for Shepard, and you then hear that they breathe air underneath the rubble, meaning that they are alive and they are potentially saved at the end of the entire thing.
Ah,
So
okay.
that is the best ending you
Yeah.
can get by gaming the system against itself, is where they go, Shepard survives.
And it has to be the red ending, where you destroy the Reapers and all artificial technology.
See, and that's not the ending that I picked. So,
Yeah.
And as someone who's into like the philosophy of Star Trek, where technology improves our lives and society and all that, I fundamentally hate that ending.
But it really depends on like what your philosophies are as you're building up towards it. At the time, I was very much of a like tinfoil hat individual, where I was like, I don't like the concept of like artificial intelligence, developing consciousness. The concept of the Geths was, to me, was a terrifying prospect, so I didn't like them to begin with. That sort of thing. And then later I've then come around, it's like, well, it is still a sentient life form. They have consciousness, they can think, they can reason. Anything that you're throwing at them, ergo do they not deserve to live at that point? But these are wonderful questions that you are able to then pose in settings such as either Star Trek or in the Mass Effect setting. And
Which
I'm quite,
you do get to in the other games.
yeah, you do, and it's lovely. It's very nice. Quite like it.
But
well, I'm thinking about it, and I'm wondering if maybe the reason I didn't like the third game quite as much is because too much of it was all build up with no story in between. At least that's what it feels like to me. And of course I played it when it launched and that's it. And I haven't played it since. So this is entirely memory. But it feels like the entirety of the game for the same runtime as Mass Effect 2, if not more, was just. I mean, I know that the second game and the first game was all about Sarah, and you don't find out about the Reapers till later. It feels like there wasn't a lot of variety there. The entire experience was just the Reapers are coming, and it felt more like simplistic, I guess, or maybe that there was less going on.
Well, from what I understand, the first game you are introduced into the world. You're introduced into the whole thing of like Saren is, an evil person, and he's working with some form of shadow. He's gone rogue. And then you learn that there is a singular Reaper out there, and the entire like build up of that and the collapse as you learn that like, oh, this was one Reaper who just went ahead of schedule. There are more of them out there. You then come into the second one where you learn that the Vanguard, the spear tip, has arrived. All right, take care, Brian. The spearhead has now arrived, and you're now dealing with the human faction Cerebus that you've learned from the first game, and you're now having to do the whole thing of like, well, this is a suicide mission. We need to deal with them because they're now coming in with weapons and allies, as in the Reapers are, that we don't know how to deal with. We need to prepare for that. And you're then learning that you are 10 minutes to midnight. So it ramps up the stress about the third game. Is like, it's all or nothing now. Which is what I feel that the third game was all about. Like, you've got to get this done, you've got to get this done, you've got to get this done, and then make sure you get as many allies in for the big final battle. And there's no way you're going to be doing the big final battle the justice that you needed to do. I think they did a very good job trying. True. Because you're still playing as special forces. You are in the thick of it. The missions you are doing are meant to be the critical turning points. You're not going to be the grunt in the front of the lines. but you get many updates from Commander Anderson and the events that takes place on Earth, and the fact that you have for the past 2 games been such a thorn. The Reapers have basically concluded we need to break the human spirit because all the other races are now depending upon the humans and their absolute tenacity. Break the humans, you break the galaxy, because Shepard has over and over thwarted their plans, their preparations. Their minions and their very strong allies have been thrown straight into the sun by some underdeveloped carbon species. That's when I'm seeing the third game is like you're meant to be doing critical things in the third game, but the big battle will not be, it will not feel like it's a big thing, but you're gathering up everything to take care of all the peripheral conflicts so that you can focus on the main thing, which is get onto the Citadel, launch the thing that's going to destroy them, and the thing where they pull the rug underneath your feet, and you now have 2 or 3 choices. I understand why people didn't like it. I think it would have been a interesting setup where if they actually sat down and went, right, what are the choices from the first game that impacted the second game? What are the choices from the second game that should be impacting the third game? And what major events, like 3 or 4 major events from each game, how do they determine the option that is presented to you? So that way, if you want the other games or the other endings, you're going to have to go all the way back and make those decisions to get up to that point, which is, people are probably going to say it's not a good decision because it forces you to replay an entire franchise.
Well, that's where they get.
Oh no, my 18 different separate character playthroughs of Mass Effect 1 and my 22 different playthroughs of Mass Effect 2. Oh no.
Yeah. I know, like, again, I know there are people who are going to be like, oh, this is bad game design. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here. Everyone said, like, I'd do that. I'd like to do that again.
I liked the Inquisition option where you had 2 options. You could play through the first 2 games and import the save data, or you could do the little
Questionnaire.
Question thingamajigger where you could go, because sometimes people.
Yeah, Mass Effect Genesis. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I like that concept where they provide an out, but the game design is still designed around these unnecessary things. Although it didn't really feel very, and actually I think Inquisition suffers from this as much as Mass Effect 3 does, where it doesn't feel like the decisions you made had an impact. Like it feels like it doesn't matter what you picked. Both of those
previous games.
Not. Well, it feels like both series. The third game in the series is the game that kind of like was just marching forward regardless of what you picked it in its own particular path.
So this is the point where we're moving into the discussion of the game design itself, because for them to design this, that's going to have a multiple things to be made. That is something where that is going to be that's a huge risk. Like, as a company, for you to sit down and go, we're going to be making 3 games where the events of the first game all the way over to the third game is going to be carried over. You're going to hear echoes throughout it in each and every single one of them. The board members are like, that's very interesting, but is this going to work? Launch the first game, focus upon the first game and make sure that works. Oh, that's good. Then launch the second game, focus on the second game, have the 2 connection. Let's see if that works. Oh, it works. Great. Now do the third one and then tie it all together. But you now have to then go all the way back and string it all through in a coherent way. And you would have... How long was it from like Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 3? It was like 8 years? More? Guessing?
From the launch?
I honestly...
Yeah, Mass Effect 1. Let's see when that...
I think you're only looking at about 6 years.
Yeah. Mass Effect 3. Here we go. Came out in 2012, and Mass Effect 1 came out in 2007. So you are looking at 5 years of development.
Compared to supposedly 6 years of pre-development that Mass Effect 1 went through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, getting the first game up and running and launched, it's always going to be a risk because it is a new IP, and many companies don't like to do risks these days. I mean, back then, they were throwing all sorts of things out there. But it was to see whether or not it worked. But it was 6 years just to get to Mass Effect 1. And then from there, another 5 years just to get to Mass Effect 3. I mean, at that point, you need to almost do like the Marvel Cinematic Universe that Kevin Feige, that gentleman, Feige, yeah,
Kevin Feige,
where he had like a gigantic board of like, these are the movies we're doing, these are the interconnections between the two of them, so that you have that visual, you have someone that sees the grander scheme of how it all interconnects, which was, I mean, for Marvel's case, that was a huge payoff with Endgame. Massive, a build-up of 10 years, multiple movies that then came to that conclusion. People were very satisfied with that ending. And if you want something like that for the Mass Effect trilogy, you need to do all that ahead of time, take a gigantic risk just to get the first one to then launch, and then launch successfully, where you can then get the funding to then do the rest that you want to do.
Yeah, too bad they fucked up and went with EA, though. Who, at that time, was saying role-playing games are dead. Single-player games are dead.
Yeah.
Mm.
Which is unfortunately a mantra we've seen that's been going on throughout the majority of the 2010s.
Mm.
And not many games came out with, here's a 20, 30 hour single player game and the rest is online. Never been my interest.
Look at all the Dragon Ages.
Yeah.
It's funny how they keep, one of the other days at work, I pulled up the like Wikipedia of the top 50 highest selling games like of all time. Or no, the first one was of 2025 and then 2024, and then I did of all time. I think on the entire list of 50 titles, like 2 of them were strictly single player. That's why companies do that. Like, drives us mad because Mass Effect and Dragon Age and DOS 2 and Baldur's Gate are beloved games that did do very well. But if you it looks really good, like, oh my gosh, Baldur's Gate 3, and Baldur's Gate's probably an outlier, but you look at like Dragon Age or Mass Effect, like, look at how popular they were, look at how successful they were, they blew everything out of the water, and then you take that graph, that like on a bar graph, and then you insert that data into the bar graph next to, say, I don't know, Call of Duty, and then all of a sudden that bar gets really tiny really fast. And it's and it's like,
go on.
Oh, go ahead.
You first.
It's basically like, on the one hand, you get really frustrated with companies. Like, I get, there's like, oh, screw large corporate entities, blah, blah, blah. And they often do make bad decisions. But also you look at that data and then all of a sudden you're like, fuck, I can't blame them anymore.
I mean, multiplayer games is where the money is at. But the problem is we've reached a stage where the monetization of online games have gotten so out of control that countries have actually said, you know what, it's now considered gambling. We've reached to a point of where it's gotten so bad that games are no longer allowed to have certain services in the European Union because it is considered to be a gambling exposure to children. So that's
to Goth's comment that you highlighted there. In order to do that, you'd have to define the parameters of what is considered an RPG, right? Because I get the funny feeling, and this just popped into my head, but I get the funny feeling that like what I would qualify as an RPG and what someone else might qualify as an RPG might be slightly different, or what we use to determine that might be slightly different.
Well, if the entire premise is like as long as you role play something, then that's an RPG, then that is so broad that I wouldn't like it. A role playing game to me would be more akin to something as such as Dragon Age, where there are mechanics to develop a character. I know that there are same things
Yeah.
in Crusader Kings. However, I look upon that as a more of a grand strategy kind of game with characterization of your leaders.
I would say I haven't played Crusader Kings, but I have watched, like, what is it, the Spiffing Brit or
Naturally,
whatever.
I mean, that's why you
And
get
so-
the best impressions of a game and how to break them.
Well, and just how much he manages to have fun
Yeah.
with the game. So if you're going to define role playing as not within the game mechanics, but I mean that to me saying Crusader Kings is the best RPG is like saying RimWorld is the best RPG. I would not consider RimWorld the best RPG, nor would I even really consider it an RPG, except in the fact that you can insert your own mental storytelling. You can have all the mental gymnastics you want to role play the pawns that you're seeing on the screen. Like, you could take it to that level, but that's not within the game. That's the player taking that upon themselves. So I would not consider Crusader Kings an RPG because that it's not in the game. Now, granted, again, I haven't actually played it, but what I understand of it, it's like a Civilization style strategy game, in which case all of the role playing is done within choice of the player, but I could play it with no role playing at all, in which case I don't consider it an RPG, followed by I can't consider it the best RPG because I don't consider it an RPG.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think this is down to preference and interpretations. I know that Goths and Rome is coming back and explaining that you have a character in Crusader King that has character personality traits with loads of story, even if it isn't predetermined, because a lot of it is random, such as your character now decides that they're a Satanist. Your character now believes that they're immortal. They're now cured of leprosy. You can even you can even acquire certain traits that just makes them so highly desirable that they will never stop not sleeping with all of their rivals' wives and just procreate at levels unheard of, creating a absolute massive civil scandal as they realize that no one's son is actually theirs.
It has the potential is definitely, from a certain point of view, it's the best role playing game because of how much you can break the game or the extremes that you can get up to. But
it's not what I would consider. It's like that would be. It would get to the same sort of like tomfoolery as my my core group of players when I made them play Pendragon. And Pendragon is meant to be like everything is predetermined, like the story is predetermined, like where you're going, the events, and the whole 9 yards. That's all predetermined. They just went, we don't care about being knights. What we have discovered, Oscar, is that you have given us the ability to micromanage our own little homesteads. So we will now, optimize the farmers. We will now buy and go hunting for money so that we can have a. This is just where it went fucking bonkers. I had players cornering the horse market of the region by arranging for the other horses to mysteriously disappear and for their horses to just be the best horses in the entire region. I had one guy who just went, I will non-stop get children so that I can marry them off and secure alliances in the south, and I will acquire cornfields and wheat fields, and I shall have a like the biggest thing that he got was a mill, and he was viciously defending the technology. He wouldn't share it with anyone. He wouldn't allow anyone else to come and use the mill because he was like, it's my technology. Only I shall be selling bread in this region. It's like, but this is the group of players that I tend to sort of like hang out with, where one of them decide like, well, my villages are based around the rivers. I shall now build dams and tax people for sailing through my lands.
Yep. That sounds like the kind of stuff. If Goth's stories from his group are anything to go by, that's their idea of a good time. That's role playing right there. Which, to each their own. I guess I can't say it's not role playing, but it's definitely not my role playing.
But then again, like the group of players I tend to sort of like attract, they seem to be having these moments of just the tism hits them really hard, and they're just like, we're now doing this, Oscar. This is now the story. I don't care about King Arthur. It's about acquiring the most amount of wealth. And because of how everything was set up, they were forced to pay taxes at the end of every session, and they're like, I don't want to pay my fucking taxes. I want to hoard this like a fucking dragon. Like, I even like they didn't understand at the beginning. So I mean, as Goffs and Rome was saying, like we abandoned playing Britons, chivalry and knights, and we more or less just played like Normans, whereas like we're landowners and all that. But the thing that got me the most riled up wasn't their hyper fixation upon the economy. It was my hyper fixation on that no one would be doing their own coat of arms properly. Like I had players generally show up and be like, here's my coat of arms. I was like, that is a castle that's on your coat of arms. I was like, yeah, that means that you have a major fortress that you own. You're a knight. I was like, oh, okay, well, you don't have that, which means you're going to have some severe social disadvantage because you've lost the fortress that your family owns. Oh, okay. They have to go away and actually come back, and like I was being really stringent about like their coat of arms until one of the players just showed up. It's like it was just a gigantic chicken. I was like, approved 100%. You have chickens, you have farmlands. This is very important stuff.
Sorry, I'm just double checking what my family heraldry is.
Yeah, because the heraldry is meant to be quite important because it gives the status of where you are within the knightly society, and not to. I mean,
yeah, we're 3 stripes and well, not really. Well, sort of 3 stripes, and either 3 crosses or 3 lions, depending on the era.
Yep. Nice. It's been a while since I've read into the whole heraldry thing, but it was funny how like my obsession was over here and everyone else was like, no, we need to do this, Oscar. And mind you, they were also doing other things. Like one of them was just annoyed that he was third in line for inheriting some land. So he was like, I'm just going to have some happy little accidents happen on the farmlands. I was just like, you're just going to Bob Ross these happy little accidents, aren't you?
I would dread ever running something like that for my family and then tell all of them to play in character, like play as yourselves in that time period, because we already act like a bit of a mafia. So I can just see us trying to kill each other off so that, to quote Highlander, there can be only one.
Well, it's going to be that, or like you're going to start focusing first on all the NPCs, but you all understand that like you can't overthrow the Earl because the Earl is the big guy. So you just have to make sure all the other knights are just integrated into your family heritage, which is what some of the players in my group did. Is like the one I said that was constantly just pumping out kids. He was just like, I'm arranging another marriage. I'm arranging another marriage. I am now he had such a funny character because he was like put all his points into how big he was. He was equivalent of like the mountain from Game of Thrones. He couldn't ride a normal horse. It had to be a specifically bred horse for him.
Oh.
So it was just like,
I died.
No.
I died. And Mercury died too. This has been I was too busy paying attention to you guys. I wasn't always paying, I was letting it run in the background, and shucks. This is what I get for being too absent. But no, I'm going to go ahead and actually bounce. So I'm going to go ahead and head out, but it was interesting. I think I'm going to abandon this game save. I will catch you guys next time.
See ya. Yes.
So, are we continuing this discussion, or
yeah, I can do it for another 10 minutes.
that's no. If you've got things to do, oh no, it's late for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost 12:30 a.m. So
Yeah, no. Let's get you to bed.
it's school holidays now, so my life
You
is doomed now.
Well, you definitely need as much sleep as you can. Well, it was good. Thank you for inviting me in, and thank you for letting me ramble on about Mass Effect and my players just decided like we're not playing Arthurian Legends, we are playing Crusader Kings, the tabletop.
Oh man, there's a lot about that I absolutely love. Part of why I like having you on is these stories, because they very much tickle my interest.
Mm.
So
I mean, those are like the unusual games I run. Then when I do normal like D&D, I also get like other situations where my players like they were being ambushed by ogres, and the ogres were like, "Aha, we surrender all your value." And the players decided that, you know what? No, we're going to turn this around. We're going to say, "Aha, no, you are surrounded because you're around us. You will now surrender all your valuable to us." And the ogres like, "What?" Like they were rolling again, Pathfinder 3.5, rolling in counter intimidations to the ogres, and won. So the ogres like, well, we are at disadvantage here. We must surrender this so we can run away.
in the 3.5 game, I've got one of the players is basically a fighter who took a feat so that he can put his strength into intimidation.
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps doing that. Like,
yeah,
we'll get into a brawl, and he'll just be like, and keep in mind, we're playing a group of dwarfs, and we're currently going up against giants.
Yeah.
And he'll just like run screaming at them, like, "You want some, eh? You want some, eh? Yeah." And like half the time, like several of them will flee because they're just like, "What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Fucking no."
It's a dwarf, a gnome just running at us bare chested. Like, no. This is a Warhammer Slayer. We don't want to deal with this.
Oh my god, he is such a slayer.
Yeah. I've also had another case where like the players attacked an ogre tribe. They learned that there was an Oni family who had united a bunch of tribes, and they were like, "Oh well, if an Oni is there, that means that they are rich. So we're naturally going to go and mug the Oni family. We're just going to beat our way through." So they killed the patriarch of the family, naturally, because he was going to fight to defend his lands. The son stood there and pointed at one of the players, being like, "I swear vengeance upon you," and turned around and tried to fly away, only for one of the wizards to go, "Ha ha, dispel magic." He's like mid-flight, just drops down. It's just like the place just like surrounded that poor Oni and be like, "You what? You swear blood oath against us? Can't have that."
I swear there was something last year that the wizard did in the group that very similar to that. I think he cut someone in half by dispelling, because I think what had happened was that he was getting ready to attack this. Oh, it was the vampire. That's right. He was readying his action against the vampire that we're fighting, and the vampire was like, "Oh no, they just took out the big thing that I was using as my blockage between them. I'm going to make a getaway." And I think it was either blink or teleported out or something. And the wizard was like, "Nope, greater dispel."
Yeah.
And we didn't really know what happened initially, but when we went over there, we found a leg, meaning that we had caught him almost getting away. So when we caught up with this vampire, he's got one leg, and he's like essentially using a piece of dead body, like as like a prosthetic, until his leg grows back, and it's just like, this is going to be fun.
Oh, so I had one of the 3.5 modules. Is the whole like setup of like the world's being invaded by demons. There's a whole collapse of things.
Hmm.
And one of the places that you go to, there's supposed to be a magical mirror there where you could then see that there's like a warband of drows that are due to be coming in. One of the places
Australians.
Aussies. No. So one of the players naturally goes over there because he sees it's magical. He sees it's a mirror. He's like, mirror, mirror upon the wall, who is the dumbest ass of them all? And then, of course, I was like, I present to him, the war leader of the Aussie, down under, Drow, who is, of course, female. And the player immediately says, I wink at her. And she looks at him as though, like, you, a hot-blooded male, winked at me. No, I told the players to write down his character sheet, marked for death by Drow. They later met said Drow, where the leader just saw the player and went, kill them now. And it was just like, right, fireball thrown at them. And they immediately, the wizard shouts, counterspell, and throws it back. The Drow goes, we prepared for this. Counterspell. So the fireball they fired back at them is now being fired back at the players, to which the artificer comes out with a wand and goes, counterspell. And it's just this ping pong, like this fireball going boom, 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 until it goes back into the Drow's mist because they run out of spellcasters. Not the spell counter spell. They can only have that one reaction.
Yeah.
So they end up getting blasted. And I then go like, well, so here's the thing, players. You are in an unstable cavern, which I did tell you about. And they went, oh yeah, that's why you were giving us this long blurb. It's just like, so it's like, I'm gonna make you roll to see whether it's stable. It's like, okay. They immediately turn to the player who's got the worst rolls. Like, come on, roll. We know it's going to be bad for Oscar. It's like, what the fuck? You're going to die as well. Like, we don't care.
We've had our fun. We don't care.
So there is a collapse. There's a whole bunch of things happening. And then they're like, okay, well, we kind of survived. Let's dig this out because we're not done with this. Because the player who wigged at that Drow was like, it's my wife. I'm gonna go and get her. Am I gonna bring her back? Just you utter insane person. You know she wants to murder. He's like, I don't care. She's hot. Again, but it's one of the reasons why, like when I'm on John's stream, I'm like, I have to remind him, like, this is the kind of crowd I play with, where they're like, you can't intimidate them. You can't make them sit there and go, oh no, my character's this. Like, they just go, it's just numbers, Oscar. And we know how to gamble. It's just...
my goodness.
Yeah.
That sounds extra... Well, yes, as Goss just said, that sounds delightful. And I love everything about it. And this is why you're on the stream.
Yeah, thank you. It's like these are the shits and giggles that we got up to when we were doing 3.5. It was just hilarious.
Yeah.
The most egregious thing I ever saw was when I took them through the Red Hand of Doom, because they were at a power level where they could have stood in Act 1 and broken the Red Hand of Doom when they arrived. So I basically told them, listen, you cannot defeat the Red Hand of Doom in terms of their numbers. I will pump those numbers up to 100,000 if I have to. You cannot stop them. And they went, oh, we're certainly going to try. What did they do, Seraphis? What could they possibly do? They opened up the Geneva Convention list and went, here's the checklist, Oscar. They looked up the events that took place in Vietnam and World War II, and they began like killing all the scouts and leaving hand grenade explosives underneath the corpses, so that when they came to retreat all the equipment, they were just going like boom.
You're immediately reminding me of a meme I saw, Warhammer 40k. The Sons of Dawn gave the Geneva Convention to one of their, I think the Iron Fists or the Dread Legion, and we're like, read this, and then he comes back, it's like, thank you, brother. I loved this book. And it's like, oh, thank you, brother. How did you find it? Very good. I now have a lot of new ideas. It's like,
So one of the players ended up possessing himself willingly so that he could turn into a monster and then have like I think it's like 4 or 5 attacks around. He was like a mixture between like a 4-armed crocodile with a long mouth as well. So he would get like 4 attacks, 1 mouth attacks, and like just rip through people that way. He would possess. They would literally go out, find goblin tribes, enslave them, possess them, and send them walking into the enemy encampments. To then go boom, because they turned into demons. Then fight and rip through them. They, Jesus Christ, the things they did. What else did they do? They summoned I think they're called mantis race, like the ones that's got like the one that kills Steve Irwin. I think it was.
Oh, yeah, mentor ray.
Yeah. So they summoned a demonic manta ray, bound it to the plane, carved runes into its underside, because there are certain runes that you can cast that causes sleep,
Yeah.
and there are another rune which causes bleeding, but it's not bleeding as in like you take damage. So the combination was you fall asleep if you are below 4 hit dice, which is a huge part of the army, and you for the next hour, for the next like I think it's like D8 hours, you bleed 1 hit point out of your body of any orifice, and you are asleep for 24 hours. You're dead. So you would have this giant manta ray, the size of a rock, flying over them, carpet bombing this curse upon just hundreds of thousands of hobgoblins, murdering them. The king, after this entire thing, basically went, "Thank you for saving the kingdom. Please get the fuck out of here."
I've never heard of a Geneva Convention, but I'm going to start one now.
Well, the artificer basically made a Gatling gun where he would then roll, like he just had like rods pre-made with like all these guns, and it would just, the activation was if his thumb touched them. So he would basically put his thumb down and just roll this Gatling gun and just like.
Yeah, I can't say I haven't had that thought. So
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, like, one of the players was playing a duelist who kept on like taking every single feat to decrease the roll he needed to roll to get a critical. I think he got it down to like a 14 or 13. So it's like he was constantly doing crits against enemies, and it got to the point of where they were fighting an invisible enemy who was trying to sneak past him. But because he was like, well, he has to pass through my my square, isn't there a chance? It's like, fine, roll me a perception check. Rolls, passes. Like, okay, you can do an attack, you get these penalties. Here you go. Rolls, crits. Not only does he get him, he then says like, I now activate this one, which is a follow-up attack, and this one, and this one, and this one. He just pounced upon this wizard, and then then they learn. Well, it wasn't a wizard; it was technically a lich. So they pounced the lich, beat him down, and they're like, "Oh, we've defeated the body. Loot him so that we can take all these magical items." They found out he had taken iron stones and replaced his teeth with iron stones instead. So they were getting out tongs and just ripping these things out from the skull. And the NPC was just seeing this cadaver being dragged in, and they were just like, "Oh, we can't get the ring off, just cut the finger off. Can't get this off, just chop the limb off." They just do all of these things.
to be fair, my character doesn't have any of the grafting feats. So when we found an alchemist who had grafted a beholder eye to his face, I was like, they killed him by a coup de grace, so they cut his head off, and I'm like waiting for everyone to like do what they were going to do, and then I'm like, my guy's going to take the head. I'm like, why are you going to take the head? I'm just going to take the head. And they're just like, it's like, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
They don't know why I've taken the head.
Well, when my players encountered a beholder, not like a proper beholder, so like one of the lesser beholders, so he's only had like 3 eye stalks or something. They immediately cut out all the eye stalks, and I was like, well, listen, we're going to treat them like wands, but you have to preserve them. So they just bought a shit ton of honey and just stuff them into that. So every time they have to get them out, they have to pull them out of a jar of honey and be like, don't you like to hit the nerve system to activate them? They wanted to use the central eye as well, but I was like, no, it's dead. That's not going to be functioning anymore. It's like, damn. But the other eyes are fine. It's like, great. We've now got like beholder eye stalks carried in like large pots of honey that we pull out and just jingle into the nerve system to activate them. Like, I do not imagine any of the old school gamers being like, I will not accept this. This is absolute tomfoolery. This is not how we run these games. I'm like, why not? Just embrace the insanity.
Pretty much. All right. We should be ending up. So, yes.
Yeah.
I have a little one here I need to put back to bed. So,
All right.
all right. Thank you for being on, and thank you everyone
very much.
for joining in or watching or not watching. Who knows? I see what you did. And well, see everyone again next week.